So, what happens when a legal case crosses borders? We're about to dive into a landmark trial with a name that sounds like it was pulled straight from a mystery novel, the Six Widows Trial. And trust me, it completely changed how courts handle international disputes. Okay, so you're probably wondering, who were these six widows? Well, here's the thing. Their specific identities aren't actually the main point. It was their situation, this incredibly complex inheritance dispute that stretched across two different nations, that created a legal puzzle so tricky it forced the entire court system to, invent a whole new way of thinking. Let's break down the problem they were all up against. You see, this whole thing didn't start with some big crime. It started with a problem that is everywhere in our world today, a single legal fight that spilled across national borders. And that right there triggered a massive headache for the courts. At its heart, this was a real legal tangle. Just picture this. One single disagreement stretching across two different countries. Each one has its own government, its own culture, and this is the most important part, its own unique set of laws. Yeah, you can already feel how complicated this is going to get. And that complication leads us straight to what lawyers call the foreign law puzzle. It really just boils down to one huge question. How can a judge in one country possibly make a ruling based on laws from a completely different legal system, one they've never even studied? Let's just be super clear on what we mean by foreign law. It's exactly what it sounds like, all the laws, rules, and legal customs from another country. So for a judge in London, the laws of Japan are foreign. For a court in New York, the laws of Brazil are foreign. It's just completely outside the judge's expertise. And this right here is the absolute core of the problem. How in the world does a court in one country apply the law from another one? I mean, are judges supposed to become overnight experts in a totally alien legal system? It seems like an impossible task, right? Okay, here's where you can really see the problem. With domestic law, the home turf stuff, the judge is the expert. They interpret the law. But foreign law, that's a whole different beast. For the court, it's not a matter of legal opinion, it's just a total unknown, a black box that they desperately need to unlock. And this is where the trial gets absolutely brilliant. Instead of just getting stuck, the court came up with this elegant, almost deceptively simple solution. They came up with a groundbreaking new principle: law becomes fact. So get this, the big, innovative idea was to stop treating the foreign law as some complex legal idea to be debated forever. Instead, they decided to treat it as a simple, provable fact, just like any other piece of evidence you bring into a case. This analogy just makes it all click. Imagine you're in court trying to prove what the weather was like in Paris on, say, last Tuesday. You wouldn't have lawyers arguing about whether it should have been sunny, right? No, you'd present evidence, weather reports, expert testimony, to establish the fact of what the weather actually was. And that's exactly how the court decided to treat foreign law. So how does this actually play out in a courtroom? Well, the process is surprisingly straightforward. First, a question about a foreign law comes up. So what do? They bring in expert witnesses from that country. Now, these experts aren't there to argue opinions. They're there to present cold, hard evidence, things like legal books, old court rulings, to prove what the law is. And then, based on that proof, the judge or jury can determine what the foreign law is, treating it as a settled fact for the rest of the case. Simple. Okay, so why are we still talking about this one old case? Why is it so incredibly important? Because the elegant solution from the Six Widows trial created a lasting legacy that truly shapes international law, even today. This decision had a massive ripple effect. All of a sudden, there was this clear, common-sense playbook that courts all over the world could use. It brought a new level of fairness and predictability to everything from huge international business deals to personal family disputes. This idea became a cornerstone of what we call private international law, which is really just the rule book for legal issues between regular people or companies in different countries. So the real takeaway here is this. A single, seemingly obscure trial set a powerful precedent that continues to shape how our deeply interconnected, globalized world pursues justice across borders every single day. And this kind of leaves us with a final thought for today. In our world of global business, online life, and just constant connection, isn't almost every law now potentially foreign law to someone, somewhere? That simple, elegant solution that was pioneered in the Six Widows trial, yeah, it might just be more relevant now than it has ever been.